This is Shadows in the Peaks, a Legends of the Five Rings actual play from Stories with Dice. If you're enjoying our actual plays, please subscribe to Stories with Dice so you never miss an episode. Don't forget to rate and review us. It really helps others discover the podcast. Follow us on social media to stay updated. You'll find the relevant links in the description of each episode.
We're live, indeed we are. Welcome back to fun-filled Legend of the Five Rings. If you've not listened to our previous ones, this is a very stupid place to start because you will not understand anything. So go back to episode 1.
You shouldn't tell people they're stupid. That's not nice.
I've been put in my place, sorry guys.
He tells us all the time.
I do not. That's a lie.
It's true, he beats us, it's just terrible. As always, I'm joined by Marco.
Apparently the asshole who beats you.
I mean, someone's got to, right? Tony?
Hello.
Tony, you were going to sing for us.
Now we're recording, it's not the same.
That's Scott.
No
Scott
pressure.
is the singer in this team.
Good evening, listeners. I will not be singing this evening.
Woo! Extra XP! And of course, last but not least, Charlotte.
Hello.
Right. Let's get on with this nonsense. So last time, you all came to the Watchtower and some shenanigans happened while you were investigating the Watchtower. Some wolves decided to descend on Utaka Hiroshi's horse. He bravely went out to rescue his horse, and everybody else kind of followed suit. Then followed a bloodbath of wolves that were sort of like corrupted and nasty and horrible, which is where we kind of ended it, really. So we're pretty much, you've all had a bit of a rest since that incident happened. I think you're all having a conversation about whether or not you've hit the Imperial, the Kitsuki's Charter of Investigations, whether you've done enough. I, as the GM, have actually gone back and looked at it and gone, have you or haven't you? Well, if you think you've done enough, then you can go back and say you've done enough. If anyone's got law, L-O-R-E-L-A-W, then feel free to make a law roll. I'll let you to decide. So essentially it's about
Shadowlands, but it doesn't really sound like it applies here.
No, but it's been a couple of hours since that. You're all kind of having a bit of a rest, catching your breath from the fight. I think some of you decided to dismember a couple of the wolves as evidence.
That's an exaggeration. We took one head,
Yeah.
and that cost me a point of honor.
Okay. Yes, one head. Okay. Yes, you took one head very disgustingly. Everyone sort of like went, oh no, and decided to not watch as you touched dead wolf flesh. And then you had time to decide what you wanted to do. So, I guess, without further ado, what is it you want to do?
It's nighttime, isn't it?
Yeah, it's getting towards nighttime.
If we look at the charter, travel to Brokenfine Watchtower, assess current condition, check. Interview surviving sentries and local villagers. Don't think we spoke to any villagers, did we? We've just spoken to the sentries.
Correct.
Investigate signs of corruption in terrain, wildlife, and spiritual phenomena. We've kind of killed some of them, but we haven't really investigated any deeper than that as to where it might have come from. Retrieve physical evidence, definitely done that. Scrolls or artifacts tied to the prophecy, and then go back and report our findings. So, I'd say we probably have a few more things left to do, like follow these things from whence they came, maybe?
Yeah, but where are the villagers, actually? On what village?
There are no villages here. The nearest village for you guys, there's Early Dawn Shrine, which is up towards the north, in between the edge of the mountains and the forests. And then there's also Shiro Zurui, which is the biggest sort of like town to the north in the area. Otherwise, you've got Shiro Muramoto, which is the capital, for all intents and purposes, of the Muramoto family, off to the east. But you've also got Great Falls Castle. So that's actually a big castle and keep, and there will be a village surrounding that. And that's to the south, through the mountains.
I mean, we can check that. Where did the wolves come from? Did they come from that direction?
No, they came from sort of like the northeast, along sort of like the hills and forests.
Can our Shigenga commune with the spirits of the wolves?
not with the spirits of the wolves themselves, but perhaps the spirits of the elements.
Yeah, or the kami of the area.
Yeah, so they could potentially do something like that.
Hiroshi suggests to Ayame communing with the spirits of the area, with the kami of the area, to see if they have anything to say about the corruption.
That was no forethought of my mind.
You could commune with them. The key ones would be earth because of the mountains that you're on or nearby. Obviously, there's air and water. 3 kind of key elements. None of them will be fire, unfortunately, which is your main emphasis.
Well, I don't always see eye to eye with the water spirits.
No. So either you could choose either the kami of the land or the kami of the air. Now, the kami of air tends to be quite playful and easily distracted. You probably find them quite annoying to talk to. The spirits of the earth are very straightforward and matter of fact, but they're also quite blunt and they're uninterested in mortals' affairs.
Think I may commune with the earth spirits.
Cool. Well, Miyamoto Akari is more than happy to help you with that as well. She will happily help with any kind of communing, so you can kind of join together to sort of use your, just make a ritual out of it, which means you've got more power to kind of like spend to talk to the kami. So if you're going to do that, anything else anybody else has any plans to do?
No, I'm just checking to see. And for me, the ideal is like to understand where the wolves are coming from, and if they come from a populated area, that we should check. That's
they're coming from the northeast, which is not populated.
I'm going to go up to the top of the watchtower, sort of stay on guard so that we're not caught unawares if either the wolves come back or with reinforcements and or, if something else arrives that is unfriendly.
Okay, that's cool. Well, in that case, Charlotte, why don't you commune with the spirits?
All right, so clicking on earth and it's a spell casting roll, right? But would commune use a spell slot?
It would. They're universal spells, so come out of any of your spell slots, so it doesn't have to be out of earth, it could be from somewhere else.
Gotcha. Do not have an affinity nor deficiency. Any modifiers on this?
So it's going to be a very basic mastery, so that's fine, and it's going to be concentrated on yourself because you're going to be doing that. So it's just a straightforward roll.
Even with assistance in this?
So yeah, so even with assistance, she's going to roll as well,
Okay.
and then you can join your any kind of raises and stuff that you might have. You could go for some raises if you wanted to, but the raises really will kind of give you just more information.
Yeah, I think I'm good with going base because it allows me to ask 2 questions.
Yep. So she's going to do the same things. If you want to make your earth roll.
That'd be a 12.
Okay, that's a success, I believe. And let's have a look, because it's a very basic. She's going to roll hers. Yeah, so between the two of you, you get to ask 4 questions of the Earth Kami. So you kind of like, you start to commune with the Kami, and you kind of like think, you're sitting there, you're relaxed, and you kind of, I guess, Akari puts her hands into sort of like through the snow into the ground, starts to sort of like play with the soil with her hands as you sort of like chant and you entreat the Earth Kami. Okay. The Kami kind of sort of, I guess, make a rumbling sound as they kind of respond to you. What do you want to ask?
Well, she would start out by being humble and apologizing. Honored Earth Kami, please forgive this intrusion. We do have a few questions that we would entreat upon you.
What do you want?
First question that would be asked would be, have they sensed any, like being direct, like any corruption in the area that is making the land unwell?
Yes, they respond.
Are you able to show or direct us to where it is the most concentrated?
The Earth Kami makes this sort of low rumble noise, almost like a kind of gravelly kind of noise. After a while, probably takes about 15 minutes, 20 minutes of sort of thinking. The answer is yes. And then the ground starts to sort of like tremble and a line appears in the ground. And a fissure sort of opens up, just a a small little fissure in the dirt, and it points in a direction. Well, technically it points in two directions because it's a line.
Just we're on the one end of it.
So yeah, it basically opens up to your side. It's no more than maybe a foot long, foot and a half long, and it just is like just goes whichever direction. That way, and then back towards you. You've got 2 more questions.
Any suggestions from the rest of the party?
Has this been caused by the interference of humans?
That's a good one. I will go with that.
No, I do not understand how humans can influence such things. They are nothing.
Any hint of what is the source of this, of the corruption?
I think we have the guidance to roughly where the concentration is here.
So when you say source, I'm guessing you mean like the person or the thing or the creature or the whatever it might be, as opposed to
exactly.
where it is.
Yeah, so do you know what's causing this? Like the root cause.
What has always been, will always be, and that is the cause.
Super helpful.
And that's about as straightforward as it could be.
It's nothing new.
That is your 4 questions.
Once again, Honor Kami, we appreciate your time in answering our questions.
What is time when you're as old as we are?
If only we were able to measure our lifetimes in yours.
Then the rumbles slow down, and then it stops. Okay? If you grab Marco or anyone else who's got any kind of, way of the land or any kind of bushcrafty, survivally kind of skills or navigation-y skills, you can kind of tell that the line is going sort of northeast to southwest, or southwest or northeast, depending which way you look at it. Which, looking at your map, kind of squarely puts it towards Shiro Zurui.
I think I'd wait for Kira to come down on his own, and for those of us who are around, just kind of discussing what was responding, because this would have just been to the summoners and not everyone else, correct?
Yeah. So no one else would have heard it apart from you and Mirumoto Akari.
Yeah, so we would share the information that was shared to us and then start to plan this out. What time of the day are we looking at again?
It's coming towards evening, so you're probably going to have to spend the night here in the Watchtower, unless you want to travel through the night, or at least part of the night, to the tea house.
Not particularly.
In which case you'll be bedding in the upstairs beds. I mean, there's plenty of them, because they've all gone missing, so you can all fit. And the guard captain and the other guard will be more than happy to have you here, especially after the attack of the wolves. Marco, you're up on the top of the tower.
Correct.
And you can see that there is a rider coming from the East Road Tea House.
I'll call down to the group below. Rider approaching from the East Road Tea House. And I'll ready an arrow.
Sure. You see a gentleman with a top knot in Dragon Clan robes, and he's not riding really fast, but he's making a bit of speed, and he comes riding towards the watchtower. He sees you up the top. He holds a hand up towards you and then slows the horse, and then as the horse slows, jumps off the horse and leads the horse towards you, looking at the various bodies that are sort of like laying around. Who is going to meet him at the front?
Me. Who is coming?
Hiroshi would be stood just behind Hironobu with his naginata to hand.
So this relatively middle-aged gentleman turns up, and he kind of walks towards you, and he sort of bows, and he says, "I am Kitsuki Hiroto. I am here with a message for yourselves." He looks and can see that obviously there's a crane and a unicorn, and he says, "I believe I'm in the right place." And he pulls out from a scroll satchel a scroll, which he then hands it to you.
Do you need to leave, or do you wanna come with us to have a tea?
He says, "A tea will be much appreciated, and I will require your answer," as he sort of points into the watchtower, which is presumably where you want to take him.
Yeah. Let him in, and the servants take care of him. Prepare the tea and some refreshment. And I guess I will open the scroll and read it loud.
Sure.
Well, not loud, just for us four, I guess.
Yeah. So the scroll is very similar to the scroll you already have. It's a Kitsuki scroll allowing him to travel through the lands. It also has the mon of Kitsuki champion, or the daimyo, allowing him to come and contact you. It's in very much the same kind of setup that the one you have, except his objectives is to contact you, and you all have your names written in the actual document. And his objective is to contact you and Muramoto Akari and request you and Akari to head towards Early Dawn Shrine, where ritual is about to be performed, which Akari is required. They are to meet a monk at the place, and his name is Togashi Rikuto. It says that you should arrive as soon as possible once your investigation is completed. Kitsuki Hiroto happily sits down and has tea.
We'll turn to Kitsuki Hiroto, and I will ask him, do you know where we expected? Do you know of the message? He doesn't know of the message.
I know that my lord gave this to me and asked for me to deliver this message to yourself, and then to get your reply as to whether or not you will continue in your investigation, or you will go to the location it is said in the scroll. And I am to afford you any kind of help I can.
So I'll turn around to the other magistrates and, so, do you think we are ready to go to Early Dawn, or we should pursue our investigation to Shiro Zurui?
I think we should pursue our investigation. We just learned new leads.
I'd say our knowledge of the situation here is incomplete.
I'm a little bit distraught that we don't know when this ritual is to be done in Early Dawn. I look at Mirumoto. I forgot her name.
Akari. Muramoto Akari.
Yeah. Akari Mirumoto.
She says, well, I can perform the ritual at any time. I guess if Lord Kitsuki wishes for me to go, I am happy to attend at whichever convenient time is available to me. But I am happy to continue to follow you if you feel that that's something that we could do. Could we not do both? I mean, the ritual, I would need to speak to this Togashi Rikuto. I have heard of his name. He is a monk that presides at Early Dawn Shrine. I guess if we went there, we could do that and then move on to Zurui. But she says, she kind of like looks down at her feet for a second and says, but I guess as the magistrates, that is your call.
Do you think that this ritual in the Early Dawn is related to our current investigation? Or are these two unrelated events?
Do you imagine it probably has something to do with that? Things are not normally done unrelated when things are so chaotic, she says.
So I've obviously come down from the top of the watchtower. We were going to go to the Early Dawn Shrine after we completed our investigation of the watchtower, were we not?
Yes, but now the lead takes us to Shiro Zurui. If we go to Early Dawn, we are backtracking in a way. To be fair, I'm equally torn as you probably are. I look at the map. Can I gather if it is, because we'll probably, if from the East Road Tea House, it's probably a day to go to Early Dawn, I guess.
To get it's probably a good part of day to get to Early Dawn. If you were to leave tomorrow morning, you'd be there by the evening. And equally, it would probably take just as long to get to the East Road Tea House, the Northern East Road Tea House.
But then the problem is that from the Early Dawn, we need to go back to the main road, right? There are no roads that go through the mountain. I guess it could take us longer.
I mean, unless someone has sort of like any way of knowing the land or anything like that, they could potentially try and get through there and look for a way through, but...
Hiroshi has Way of the Land, so...
Okay. So you could try.
We could use his knowledge to try.
I mean, in theory, yeah. I mean, Way of the Land is probably for the unicorn lands, but I would imagine you don't really. But it would allow you to sort of scout out the best routes. I mean, you definitely think if you went through the forest or around or on the edges of the forest, and you didn't go all the way back to the main road, you could probably cut across sort of around the mountains.
Katsuni Akira has trailblazing as an emphasis for his the hunting skill, so that might be helpful.
That would both be, yeah, you could do that.
Going through uncharted territory, let's say.
And if you found, there are sort of like, I mean, on the map that we provided, that is like the main Imperial Road. That's something I said before. There are other roads that kind of like branch off of that. There are rice paddies. There are fields of vegetables and stuff like that, all through the sort of belt between the two mountains. So there are actual ways to get around, but it's just not highlighted on any kind of imperial maps.
So my guess is, what I'm understanding is that we could go to early dawn, perhaps lose 2 days max, and then we could be able to go back to Shiro Zurui. Do we agree on this?
Katsuni Akira believes we should go to the early dawn shrine.
Hiroshi?
I'm not convinced I want to leave here without knowing at least where these creatures came from, what caused them to be the way they were. I feel like that would be going with half the information that we need.
I'm in agreement with Hiroshi-san. If we go back, we might run the risk of losing this trail. Like, the spirits did not say that it would be here forever. They could shut this down as soon as they open it up, or as quickly as they open it up. So, doubling back, I do not believe is in our best interest. They said at our earliest availability. We're not available. We're still on our primary task. Everything else right now is secondary.
You bring an important point. You might be right.
Ooh, look at that. You'll have to make a decision.
I don't see it as doubling back.
How could you not?
Doubling back would be going this way. We're going northeast, I guess. And those wolves went northeast, as a matter of fact. They came from the northeast. It's highly likely we may find something in this forest.
Where on our map is the early dawn shrine? There it is.
Northwest.
Northwest. Oh, sorry, I thought it was northeast.
And where are we? I thought that's where we were.
We're down here, yeah.
I don't know why I've been thinking the entire time that we went north to the shrine.
To be fair, I think it's one of the things you were going to decide whether you wanted to go to the Watchtower, Early Dawn Shrine, or make your way up to the Shiro Zurui. So you kind of had a decision about what you wanted to do. You all went to the Watchtower. I think that was one of the things you were thinking about doing once you got to the tea house.
Look at me not paying attention. I still say that we should continue on and follow the path that the kami have laid out for us. We go to the shrine, we come back, everything may be gone, and we may not be able to recover this trail. The spirits are fickle at best.
Tell me again what this trail is.
This trail is to lead us to the concentrated corruption in this area, which is part of the tasks that were set out for us.
And how do you know it points towards Shiro?
I have entreated the kami, and this is what they told me. And looking at the line, looking at the rift in the earth that they have graciously provided us, it leads in that direction. Where it goes past our current eyesight, we do not know. But from here, it looks like it is heading in that general direction.
Could it not also be heading in the opposite direction? There is no arrow pointing one way or the other. It is simply a line in the ground.
And that is why we've been sent to investigate. It could be either direction. We don't know. We have to...
But you are intent on going in the direction of Shiro. I would like to know why.
Just a pause on that. Ed, how does this rift in the earth look to us where we are right now?
It is essentially a foot and a half, sort of like broken line, I guess, that's kind of opened up on the rock and the dirt, and it goes northeast, southwest-ish. And when you kind of look at that, it looks like it either points towards Shiro Zurui or southwest past Great Falls Castle into the mountains. But I would imagine that you're probably assuming, because everything else is to do with this area, it's probably not southwest, because that would take you out of the Dragonlands. If I play devil's advocate, yeah, Akira is correct. It could go whichever direction, but you're going to assume that it's going north, because I haven't done anything else further past south.
Yeah, no,
so go north.
Fine. We have to make the assumption that we're not going to find the source of this outside of the area where all of our troubles, or all of the troubles in dragon territory, are centered.
Is it possible that it is actually pointing that the corrupt source of the corruption is in Shiro Katsuki? How do we know? The very individuals who sent us on this quest might be corrupted.
That is possible.
Are any of our guests within earshot when Akira says that? And if so, what's their reaction?
Marco, are you going to say that in earshot of anyone, or are you happy to
Yes, No, I'm going to say it in earshot.
Okay, right.
A very wise man once said, trust no one.
Okay.
Especially someone who gets paid for their work like this.
Let's have a look. Do you want to take? Do you want to make some kind of investigation, perception-y kind of roll, Hiroshi?
Okay. Yeah, let's see what I...
Because you're the one who's specifically looking to see what people will think.
what the reaction is. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have any perception-related skills, so I guess just an awareness roll? Perception.
No,
perception is
perception.
Yeah, I've got perception.
Perception is a trait, so you can use that.
Yep, seen it. I was busy staring at my shoes. For those not listening, I just rolled a 5 on 2 dice.
Yeah, no, you have no idea.
Which is not good.
Yeah, no idea. Neither of them seem to... They've either both ignored the comment or they didn't hear it, which is difficult to tell because you're in a relatively small watchtower. So, or they're just being terribly polite and ignoring what he's saying.
For what it's worth, when we were there, I did not sense any kind of corrupting force. I feel that it would be a little bit more prevalent if that was the center of corruption. We would see signs of it. We'd feel signs of it. Like we felt here when we came to the watchtower.
Murato Akari nods sagely when you say that.
Could it possibly be a suggestion that the corruption is moving in the direction of travel, as in moving towards Shirokuri?
That's a good idea. Maybe that is what's happening, says Akari. Yes, I think that could be.
If it is your belief that we should proceed to Shiro Zurui, then I will follow.
I firmly believe that is our best course of action at this time.
But let us spend the night here in the watchtower, no?
Agreed.
Suzumi, she says, I do not really wish to go out with anything else out there. I'm quite happy to stay here at the watchtower, if that's okay with the rest of you.
Does she mean for the night, or does she mean like...
For the night.
Okay.
Yeah, she doesn't want to live here. It's fine. Yeah, she says, just for the evening would be grateful. I prefer the strength of the walls around me than camping outside.
So be it. We can tell the messenger now.
He says, he basically's been sitting there and says, okay. He says, I will happily advise my lord in the morning. I too will stay here. And he goes and gets his horse and brings it in as well. So there's 2 horses now on the lower floor.
Hiroshi volunteers to stay on the lower floor for the night, take care of the horses, and hold the door if need be.
They will happily let you do that.
Shovel that horse manure.
He does, all over Akira's possessions.
Yep, you spend the night. You were very lucky to hear that nothing bad happens. It's odd for you because, you don't normally spend time in these sorts of places. It's not quite what you'd expect from samurai housing, but, you end up getting some warm tea, some okay blankets. I mean, I guess you might have your own. I mean, I don't know if you probably travel with those or you kind of just expect wherever you're going to stay will have that and support you. Probably, I would imagine the Kikita probably has something along those lines. Whereas I suppose Hiroshi will probably have his own blanket or something like that, which will be on the horse, having used to sort of like spending nights in stables, that kind of thing. But yeah, the night goes uneventfully, and in the morning you can make your way. Kitsuki takes your message and will ride back to Shirokitsuki to inform his lordship what it is you're doing. Okay, well, so what do you guys want to do? Do you want to ride back north towards the lower East Road Tea House? Or do you want to strike out just going due north and then hit the Imperial Road and then make your way to the North Tea House?
Yeah, I think we should just strike out north for the road. There's no point in going back toward the old tea house.
We should be following the rift.
Yeah, that would take you roughly in the right direction, where the rift kind of goes northeast, so that would take you up towards the road.
Yeah, we should never have the rift leave our sight.
Well, it will eventually leave our sight.
Yeah, so the rift will go as soon as you walk maybe, 30 foot, you won't be able to see the rift anymore. Because the rift's only like 1.5 feet, so it's not a particularly big rift. But yeah, you can kind of take a line, a sighting. From where you are on this side of the mountains, you can see the other mountains on the other side. You can pick out some of the peaks, and you could go in that direction, which means you will bisect the road.
Thank God we have scouts in our team.
Thank goodness for the 2 scouts. Well, I'm not going to ask you to make a roll because you have way of the land, and you also have hunting, trailblazing. And it is not that difficult to go over relatively flat ground once you sort of leave the hills. Which you do. It doesn't take you particularly long. By the early morning, you have kind of hit the Imperial Road. So an interesting note about Imperial Roads in Rokugan, they're all raised off of the ground with rock and sort of like either slate or stone. And so they sometimes, depending where you are, they can be anywhere between a foot and up to 4 foot off the ground. This is sort of like the lower end of the side. They're sort of like maybe a half a foot higher up. But it is an actual proper road, hard, compact dirt and rock that you can travel on, which is why it takes a relatively short amount of time to get from one place to another in Rokugan. So you join that road. Are you going to continue over the road and just follow the direction of the rift, or are you going to turn essentially right and head up towards the Upper East Road tea house?
Yes, it could be good to stop in the tea house, no?
Yeah, absolutely, because it'll be dark.
If you want a bath and some food and,
We may very well be spending the night there before heading on to the town.
Yeah, you probably
sense.
get to the town the next day. Well, you continue on. Who's scouting? Who wants to make a roll? Either Marco or Scott. I'll let you fire out.
Do you want to roll this one, Marco?
Okie dokie.
Could you just roll me 4d10?
I'm not rolling the skill?
No, just 4d10.
Okay. That is a 32 for the folks at home.
Okay. Well, you make your way up onto the road, and then you follow the road all the way up to the Upper Road Tea House. The road itself, as I said, is raised. As you kind of are getting towards the tea house, maybe about a mile before the tea house, you can see a number of people sort of sitting by the side of the Imperial Road. Not on it, just off of it. They're all kind of holding hand carts and various sort of packs made of bamboo or wood, and they're all kind of, there's probably about maybe 8 or 10 of them, and they're all kind of like sitting down for maybe a late lunch, and they kind of look up as they see you coming, and then they immediately all lower their eyes as soon as they see that you're all sort of samurai, and they go about their business sort of like mumbling very quietly as you sort of like approach them. Essentially, they're a bunch of peasants who are obviously looking to take their whatever they happen to have, either to be sold or to market or trade. As you can imagine, it's kind of coming towards the end of winter, and so they don't have a huge amount of vegetables or anything really to sell. They all look in particularly bad shape. It's been a particularly harsh winter, plus the war that's been going on last year. It's hard to make ends meet.
And how far away are we from the tea house?
You reckon you're maybe no more than sort of like 45 minutes away.
And they're just sitting on the side of the road?
They're sitting on the side of the road. They don't have permission to travel on the Imperial Highway, and so they can't really move any further than away. You imagine, so the life of a peasant in Rokugan is not great. Probably it depends. It also depends on which clan you're a peasant on, but they tend to stay in the same location. So their houses and their homes and their families are probably no more than a couple of miles away from where they are, and they will always stay here. So presumably they're going to go to a headman's house to try and barter for whatever money they can get or whatever else they can get hold of for what meager supplies they have. Yeah, they just, as soon as they realize who you are, they just look down at the ground and they're not saying anything. Does anybody want to do anything, or you just want to wander past them?
Kitsune Akira is just going to wander past them.
Oh, she will nod and acknowledge them.
They don't see your nod because they're looking at the ground.
Yeah, the crane Kakita will also ignore them. Well, I will ignore them, but I will have a look to see if there is any corruption or any signs of anything. I don't know if that's something you can see. I don't like the wolves, kind of like the wolves that you could tell,
Yeah, you're looking for sort of like, people with like strange color eyes or weird like birthmarks or any kind of defects or anything.
Hey, I have strange colored eyes.
I know.
There you go.
So if you do, you can make either a perception roll, or if you want to sort of stop and actually really look at them, I mean, it's like, wander in and start actually looking at them and moving their heads around, that kind of thing.
I'll kind of stop and look at them. I mean, I'm the samurai. They will not even look at me. So we'll just stop, look at them, and see if I see anything.
You going to manhandle them, or are you just going to just look them over?
Yeah, we'll just stop next to them and just look carefully from the upper part, from the road.
From the road.
I will not
down.
step down.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Make an investigation roll.
I'll have investigation, so I
Make a
just...
perception roll, then, please.
I'm just a useless samurai. I just need to cut people. That's all I know how to do.
You're great when it's you say that, but I think you did a really good roll.
16.
16, yeah, that's good. Yeah, you look them over and down. I mean, they look dirty. They look like they're, they've probably been traveling for a day or so. They definitely have. They're all sort of like quite padded up with whatever clothes they can find because it's quite cold out. But you can't see anything that kind of like jumps out at you. They don't have sort of like pustules or any kind of weird dark areas or sort of like a sickness. The teeth are generally okay. They look like you don't really spend a lot of time looking at peasants, it's unless you're sort of like, at home and you particularly have like a couple of favorite ones that sort of like look after you or whatever. They're all pretty much the same.
My thing is because, Hiroshi mentioned that we didn't question any villagers, right? So that's why I'm just paying a little bit more attention to this. I will ask them, peasants. I don't know how to address them, to be honest.
So, if you just said, you lot, that's pretty much what you would do. If you want to be really, really kind, benevolent samurai, you would probably sort of like, excuse me, good sirs, or, that's the sort of like way you would normally go. If not, then you say, hey, you lot.
Okay, so we'll do just that.
Yep.
Yeah, hey, you there. We heard of attacks of wolves in the forest up here. Have you seen anything?
They all kind of like look around at each other. They kind of realize, so without saying anything, that they pretty much have decided on some poor unfortunate is the person who's going to be speaking to you. And the person sort of looks at them. Anybody else is looking at this, kind of, there's a sort of like non-verbal kind of like, why do I have to be the one? And he sort of stumbles over and says, but my lord, you do us great honor by speaking to us wolves. No, not that I can tell. I mean, there are wolves in the forest. Did you want a wolf?
So you're telling me that nothing happened. Where do you come from?
We come from...
What is your village?
I'm sorry I'm not answering quick enough for you. My village is to the north of the road. He kind of like points towards just basically the rock in front of him. He says, we're from a small village just to the north.
Okay, thank you. And I will turn around to one of my, my group of servants, and I will ask them, give them something to eat.
They say, naturally. And they sort of like peel off the road, get off the road, and they start sort of like handing out some food.
I will continue walking.
Cool. Suzumi Nori also kind of like steps off, and she sort of like goes to help. What's Agasha Yame doing?
Well, out of nowhere, you hear this ding, and above her head, you see a sign that says, Ayame likes this. She approves of the distribution of the food to the peasants.
Cool. Did she want to stop, or is she gonna just,
No, I'll let Hironobu do this thing.
Yep, cool.
Katsuni Akira will just shake his head and say, Kakita-san, you are too soft.
There is nothing soft about compassion. Let's just be on our way.
You kind of like continue on your way, and then your servants and and Suzumi Nori will basically catch up with you. Yeah, you make your way further north to the Upper East Road tea house, and as you kind of make your way towards it, you can see that the tea house is nestled in sort of like this, again, the rolling plains in between the mountain passes. You can see it actually has a name, the Silver Petal Inn and Tea House. And as you're sort of like making your way towards there, you see that it's positioned at a crossroads. As you're getting towards the sort of tea house, there's probably maybe 15 or so buildings around the tea house, and you can see there are loads of merchants' houses that have kind of like sprung up, places to eat, places to sort of like pilgrimage, and they're set up on like a sort of like star shape. You can see that there is a little rocky path that leads from the sort of like road to the outside of the tea house. The tea house is surrounded by a small palisade, and then someone is lighting some lights or some lanterns at the front of the tea house door. The gentleman at the front says, "My lords, it's really good to see you all here. Would you care to come in and rest yourselves?
Yes, we would.
Please. Come in. Welcome to the Silver Petal Inn. And he basically holds the door open for you. It looks like the inn itself is a sprawling single-stored structure. It's got a slope-running roof, and all along the roof, you've got these painted silver petal floral motifs. As you sort of like go through the actual door, you kind of go into what looks like a small courtyard, and it looks like there's a couple of plum blossom trees over sort of like a little rock garden, and then there's a little set of tea lamps that have all been lit, heading towards the actual front door of the tea house. You particularly gonna follow the same sort of like routine that you did previously, kind of go up to the door, hand over your weapons and stuff, put them to the side, or keep them, depending on what you're going to do.
Katsuni keeps his weapons.
Okay. You're not met by anyone by the door, so you kind of like stop. I'm guessing, it's probably going to be Akira that's at the front. Are you going to go in, or are you going to wait for someone to usher you in?
I mean, there is nobody helping us, no?
No, there doesn't appear to be anyone there.
Is it customary to be ushered in, or
yeah? But a lot of the time, there's usually someone around to sort of like usher you in. Especially, I mean, you're so used to sort of like in the previous tea house.
Right.
There's always someone to like fawn over you and to do things for you. It's what you're used to, you know. But this doesn't seem to be the case here.
Yeah, so I guess I'll sort of stand around a little awkwardly because he's probably expecting, the proprietor or something to sort of usher him inside. So he's just kind of like standing there.
So as you're doing that, the person who was lighting the older guy that was lighting the lanterns, kind of like wanders past you all as a group and says, "Apologies, my lords, we're short-staffed this evening." And he says, "Please." He opens the door. "Please come in. And he opens the door into the front of the tea house.
Thank you. We'll have some tea, and please find this horse something to eat.
He looks at it and says, Of course. We'll get that arranged. Please. He shows you where your weapons would go. If you've got armor, a place to put your armor. He gives you some fresh shoes to wear, and or slippers. And he takes you along to. So it's a very different layout to the previous tea house. It's all sort of L-shaped rooms, and he sort of takes you to this larger L-shaped room, which is divided around a central courtyard. It's a covered central courtyard, and in the middle there is this little spring that's sort of like bubbling up, and in the spring are these little water lilies and flowers on them, and they seem to be perfectly like blossomed. The winter doesn't seem to have affected them at all. There was an old lady who's almost ankle deep in the water, and she appears to be doing some gardening to these things in the water. He says, "Never mind my wife, just come over here, my lords," and he kind of puts you in a particularly nice spot, and he brings over some warming trays, so you can kind of get warm and sort of like put your feet on them underneath the table. And he says, "I'll be with you along shortly," and then he disappears off. You can have a look. You can see in the other rooms, it's fairly busy. There's probably about 20 or 30 other people using this tea house, and most of them appear to be dragon samurai of some sort, or monks, all having conversations and speak to people.
Do we see anyone we recognize?
They mostly all appear to be soldiers of the Muramoto clan, except for one person who is all in grey, which you recognize from the last tea house.
Is that the guy with the hat?
It's your friend, Akira.
It's your friend.
Akira.
Oops. He's sitting on the far end on one of the tables, and he is talking to a couple of monks.
Please behave yourself while we're here.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I won't be telling anyone to fuck off.
I'm glad to hear this.
I never told anyone to fuck off last time, so, just so we're clear.
Yeah, so you kind of like make your way, and you sort of like sit down, and...
But if he tells me to fuck off, I will cut his tongue out.
I mean, sure, why not? The old man comes over, and he brings you over whatever you want to eat or drink, and you end up having a very comfortable evening. The older gentleman says, "And now it is time. Please put your hands together for the traveling troupe." And he kind of opens up one of the shoji screens, and you can see that someone is set up a puppet theater, and it looks like someone is going to perform some puppetry for you. and he kind of like bows out the way, and this gentleman turns up in a mask. He's wearing very much the colours, or just slightly off the colours of the Emperor, and he's got a porcelain mask on, which has very much got the look of what the scrolls would portray as the first Emperor of Rokugan. And he says, "My fellow travellers, let me tell you a story of how Rokugan came into being.